It's great having you with me today on Paint a Beautiful Picture. Today is episode 103, and the title of today's episode is Giving Till It Hurts. Do you intend, when you start a relationship, that sometimes it's going to hurt? And do you intend to stay, even if it does? Let me tell you a secret. I talk to people in counseling at times, and they'll say, yeah, this person hurt me so much, and I'm out of here. I never expected this to hurt so bad. And love is never supposed to hurt. Okay, let's get real with each other, right? Jesus Christ loved the entire wide world. And honey, it hurt. If you really believe that you're going to love someone and it isn't going to hurt, let me deliver some very strong and disappointing news to you today. You are mistaken. It's gonna hurt. I really want you to know as a parent that sometimes your love for your child is gonna hurt. In fact, it's probably going to hurt a lot, and a lot more than you anticipated. So you need to love with intention that no matter how much this hurts, I'm still gonna love you. I'm not saying you go out of your way to look for love to hurt you, or you go out of your way to find an abusive so-and-so. That goes both directions, male and female. That's not what I'm talking about. What I am talking about is understanding that when you really love someone, when you truly invest your life and your heart into them, sometimes it's going to hurt. Let's talk about that. So you have a toddler. They flush 4 pairs of underwear down the toilet in one morning. Yes, I know someone to whom this happened. And they had to get an entire mess taken out by their plumber. Cost them like $2,000. Yeah, that hurt, especially when you're a young married person. You don't have thousands of dollars to spend on crazy stuff. Yeah, that hurt. Over having a child. If you didn't have the child, that never would have happened to you. I realize that's kind of a crazy illustration, but it is the truth. All right, so we'll use a different one. I had one of my grandsons who, for whatever reason, thought this was hilarious. He had a metal Tonka truck, not the huge one, but the mid-sized one that packed quite the punch. And occasionally, he would just pick it up and slam you with it, like slam you in the knee or slam you up against the arm. I literally bled over that kid occasionally. Yeah, love can hurt. When you have an 8 or 9-year-old and they're having a really bad day and they come home and they just start yelling and screaming at you because you're the most emotionally safe person in their world, they can't go off like that on their best friend, and they certainly can't do that at their teacher. But they can do it at you because you're still going to love them when it's over. So they're yelling and screaming at you, and depending on who they've hung out with, they're cussing at you, and you didn't even know your kid knew those words, and they're throwing stuff around and breaking things, and you are just not angry all the way, although you're plenty angry, but you're really hurt. What in the world? I don't even know who this kid is, and this kid came out of my body or out of my loins, and now I got this kid tearing the world down around me because he's all ticked off or she's all upset. Like, whoa, yeah, those words can be hurtful. The first time a kid ever looks and goes, I hate your guts, and I'll be surprised, I think maybe 5 to 10% of kids don't say that. But in all the counseling I've done and all the teenagers I've known, it usually comes out of a kid's mouth at some point. And if it's not exactly those words, it's, I can't stand you, and I can't even believe you're my mother. And I mean, just the things kids can say when they get upset. And it hurts. If you have a child who's involved in drugs or alcohol or pornography, or who went out and beat the living daylights out of another kid and ended up in jail overnight or in juvenile, I don't even have to talk to you about how much love hurts. Here's why this is a big thing for you to understand. There are certain people in the world we can walk away from, no problem. Like, man, you just crossed the line and we're finished now. Yeah, it's a different story. With a friend or a colleague, even sometimes with a mate, especially if they've been doing it to you for 15 or 20 years, you can hit that end point and walk away. That still hurts, just so you know. I know that. That still rips out your soul, makes you cry, is a deep, deep, unrelenting pain for a very long time. Don't try to tell me another story because I already lived that one and I know how badly it hurts. But your kids, oh my lands, this is another level, okay? You literally carried them in your arms as a baby. You nurtured them. You cared so much about them. You were their whole entire wide world. You gave everything you had, and now they're hurting you. This is why in your own mind you must determine that I'm going to stick this out. I'm going to love you no matter what. And I know sometimes it's going to hurt. You have to do it because sometimes it is going to hurt. We're going to go to the reality of building a foundation with your child. When you build that very firm and stable foundation, when you develop a very strong emotional bond, when that connection with your child is healthy and nurturing and supportive, the incidences where they hurt you may be fewer, although I don't know that the depths to which they can hurt you change at all. Maybe they're even more so because of how significant that bond is between the two of you. But I do think that one of the greatest investments you can make is developing those very strong bonds with your child and having happy, joyful, marvelous moments in your relationship together so that when the painful or the hurtful ones come, they offset one another. The other thing you have to know is that you can acknowledge to your child, you hurt me. You hurt me when you said that. You hurt my heart when you did that. You hurt me when you acted like that. Now, if this is a daily thing, oh, you hurt me when you said that you were upset today. Can I say to you, grow up? That's not what I'm talking about. Okay. Then you're probably overly sensitive and you really need to get on with it because sometimes people say things and some people act a certain way. You can't walk around hurt forever and ever. I'm talking about significant pain here. That's going to happen in your relationships too. I don't want to say that you can't ever get hurt. That's not what I mean. But don't be dumping this trash on your kid day after day after day after day after day after day. That's about you, not about them. But in a good, healthy relationship, sometimes people act badly. They say dumb things, and you do get hurt, legitimately hurt. And you do need to be able to acknowledge that. Oh, and your child needs to be able to acknowledge it to you. You know, Mom, when I told you that I had this thing at school, and you told me you had this business meeting, and you went to it, but you didn't go to my play at school, that really hurt me. I could not believe that that was a bigger thing to you than my play. Yeah, that's a real hurt in your child. And you know what? Because your child loves you, you can hurt them too. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. Love can really hurt us. The offset of that is doing great things together, having beautiful memories, having extremely joyous and full and fulfilling times together so that when the hurt comes, you can handle that. Now, how do you handle hurt? Some people handle hurt by blowing it all over each other. So you heard about hurt people? Hurt people. So they go, oh, you hurt me. Well, guess what? And they run their mouth. They say all this terrible, horrible stuff that they've been thinking or they've been harboring. Yeah, hurt for hurt, that doesn't really work out. All that does is bring more and more pain and anger into a relationship. That is not healthy. So your child hurts you, you do not take that as an opportunity to hurt them back. Okay? Or you hurt them, you need to teach them this is not an opportunity for you to hurt me back. You're not fostering passive aggressive behavior in your relationships. Then you have to help them understand, and you need to understand hurt that is unresolved usually turns into anger. And so if you deal with the hurt right away, that hurt me, that person has the opportunity to say, I'm truly sorry I hurt you. And you say, I forgive you. It's cleared up. Everybody's okay. It's balm on the hurt. It's medicine when someone says, I'm sorry, please forgive me. And so you take care of that hurt. But if you don't, if you just keep burying hurt, burying it, pretty soon it's going to grow into anger. And over time, it's going to grow into bitterness. And bitterness is going to grow into a big tree that's going to overshadow your entire life and affect your attitude and your relationships and even your own mental well being. Don't do it. Deal with hurt right away. Do you know that pain, I do mean pain, like physical pain or emotional pain, even psychological pain, it is a part of our lives. Everybody falls down. Oh my goodness, you skin your knee, you bang your leg, you get bruises, you break your arm, you have to have surgery. Yeah, we all definitely suffer through pain, and that's physical pain. We suffer through psychological pain when we're playing sports and we're the very last person picked and nobody wants us on their team because we're just not great at running or good at certain kinds of sports. That's psychologically painful. We thought we were really going to be an awesome ballerina, but we have no grace and we have two left feet and we're just no good at it all. And the dance instructor tells our mom after 6 months, yeah, like she should take up horseback riding or something. That is psychologically painful. People who tell us that we're really crummy at something we thought we were pretty good at, especially if it's our teacher or our favorite aunt, someone very significant, that's psychologically painful. Every one of us has painful moments. We have to learn how to handle it. Some of that is just developing a little bit of emotional and psychological toughness. Okay, there are going to be people in the world who don't like me. There will be times in the world where someone will be rude or insulting or unkind to me or point out my worst flaws to me in a less than gentle way. That's going to happen, and I can handle it. And I'm not going to handle it by being mad, and I'm not going to handle it by being defensive. I'm just going to handle it. Okay, so I'm not great at that. That's absolutely the truth. You were rude and insulting to me. I'm going to be a bigger person and let that go because I don't need to focus on that or stab my own self again and again. It's one thing when you take a little sticker and stab me with it. It's another thing when I pull it out and stab myself again and stab myself again and stab myself again. That's on me, not on you. If it was just going to be one little prick and now I'm bleeding all over the place, that's about me. I don't need to do that. And that's why I said, that's where we have to learn how to let things go. And especially if we have the resolution within our own home of, I'm sorry, please forgive me. And we do extend forgiveness and the hurt is resolved. We don't have to stab ourselves with that over and over. And if you don't know what I mean by that, what I mean is, I can't believe he said, I can't believe she did. Don't do it. That's you stabbing yourself again and again and again. Do not do that. Cut it out. I forgave that. That's resolved. We're good. I don't need to do this to myself. And don't do it. You have to understand, sometimes love is going to hurt. Sometimes your own child is going to hurt you. You have to do your best to foster such an awesome relationship with them that the good parts far outweigh the hurtful parts. And you have to let your child understand that hurting, it is a part of life. It is a part of love. It is something we can cope with and actually something we can even overcome by the power of the love that we have. Let me remind you, Jesus does love you, and your humanity, the things that you do, lie, act like a jerk, cuss your head off at somebody when you're mad, those things hurt him, and he still keeps on loving you. In following his example, we need to continue to love the people that we love, even when they hurt us. Not ignore it or act like it wasn't important. Deal with it to the best of our ability, both with them and within ourselves. But acknowledge that sometimes love, in fact, does cause us some pain. I would even say that if we have love for someone and it's never hurt us, I'm not exactly sure how much we really love them. Because when we really make that investment in someone and we give them enough emotional room in our world, sooner or later, it's very likely that they're going to hurt us. My challenge question for you today is, how do I cope with the pain of someone hurting me whom I love? If you can cope with it pretty well, it's awesome. You can teach your child. If you don't, please start developing the sense of not stabbing yourself over and over again as well as learning how to forgive and let the hurt go. Thank you so much for joining me today on Paint a Beautiful Picture. I will look forward to having you with me again soon. You may find additional information on our paintabeautifulpicture.com website. Additionally, you may watch me on Rumble, and you may also listen to a podcast on Buzzsprout or Spreaker, all under the name Paint a Beautiful Picture. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. You may subscribe, and if you are interested in receiving notifications, please hit the notifications button.